Boys High School. It was Reverend Euba, principal Rob with Boys High School. Was he for many years? Methodist Western Boys High School for 10 and 7 years. To principal Rob was faithful friend Elijah's woman to fair.
Distinguished gentlemen, I don't know if there are ladies in the audience because I know it's the anniversary of the boys' school. So if there are ladies there, I recognize them, but I know that it's essentially a men's event. I want to thank the organizers for finding me worthy to share some thoughts with us on role of media in productive nationalism. I've listened to the first two speakers, and I want to say it's a time well spent. But I must also remark that the time slot I was given was 3 to 3:20. And I had scheduled my other activities based on that time slot. So maybe by 3:45, latest 10 minutes to 4, you will permit me to leave. But I'll try to run through what I have here on role of media in productive nationalism. Let me also mention that my late father was a school principal. He was the first African principal of St. Charles Grammar School, Osogbo, in the 1960s. Before him, that school had foreign principals. So the late Eko Adesina was the first African principal of St. Charles Grammar School, Osogbo. So I can identify with what you are doing in memory of the late Reverend Euba. So thank you very much for celebrating and recognizing a man like that posthumously. Now to our topic, role of media in productive nationalism. I think there are 3 operative words here. One is the media, the 2 is productive, and 3rd is nationalism. I began to ask myself, why was the word productive inserted in this topic? We'll talk of role of media in nationalism. It's a very popular topic. But you have said in productive nationalism, which I found very, very instructive. Productive nationalism. It sent me to look into the root of that word productive. What does it mean? It means producing or able to produce. When something is producing or able to produce, it is productive. It also means something which causes or provides a good result. A good result. Anything that is productive usually comes with a good result. They use it in the positive sense, not negative. And what are alternative words for that word productive? Synonyms. Taking you back to those days in secondary school, synonyms and antonyms. So what are synonyms for the word productive? They are fertile, fruitful, rich, high-yielding, advantageous, beneficial, constructive, and so on and so forth. So therefore, if we are talking of productive nationalism, we are talking of love for country, passion for country, fervor for country that is productive, that is fruitful, rich, high-yielding, advantageous, beneficial, constructive. So I want to thank the framers of this topic for inserting that word productive in the topic. role of media in productive nationalism. What that immediately tells us is that not everything that appears to be nationalism is productive. That is what we are trying to establish. Not everything that appears to be nationalism is productive. We know of people who have the reputation of being nationalists, but the way they carry on, the way they speak, the things they say are not productive for the country. They are not productive for unity. They are not productive for progress. They are not productive for development. They are, in fact, divisive. So, we will be talking of the role of media in productive nationalism. Nationalism that yields positive. Nationalism that is fertile. We are safe to conclude that this topic is intended to advert our minds to positive nationalism from the media, as opposed to hypercritical, pulling down, divisive tendencies. You know, I'm a media person. I have been for almost 40 years now, post-graduation. I've not done any other thing since leaving school. I've been a media person. But if I say that the media is part of the problem of our country, I can defend that anywhere. 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 The media has done well in terms of nationalism, fighting for independence, promoting Nigerianism, Nigerian consciousness. But the media has also done negative things to our country in terms of nationalism, particularly now with the advent of the social media. Anything goes now, however toxic, however poisonous, however divisive it is. Anything goes. Anything goes. You'll find that the sifting that we used to have in terms of what got published as fair for public consumption is no longer there. Anything goes. Anything goes. You even find the traditional media now drawing materials from the social media without authenticating. Therefore, it's very important that our media must advert their minds to productive nationalism. When I say they must address themselves to productive nationalism, I'm not saying they must be in bed with government. No. As media advisor to the president in the past seven and a half years, what I tell my colleagues in the media is that we don't want a media that is in bed with government. No. We want a media that is fair and just. A media that criticizes when it must criticize, and a media that praises and applauds when it must do so. But when the media is on a permanent hypercritical mode, it's not good for any country. And not good for our country, Nigeria. It plays divisive rather than unifying roles in a polity like ours now. For instance, if you have a story like Nigerian army neutralizes 100 insurgents or bandits, you find the media going to hide it somewhere. But if bandits killed 50 soldiers, or they attack the military formation and kill 50 soldiers, you find it everywhere. Banner headlines. Is that productive? It can't be. It can't be. It cannot be. So it is very important that we must begin to emphasize productive nationalism on the part of our media. Nigerian media was born into activism. If you read media history in Nigeria, Nigerian media was born right into activism. You had the West African Pilot by Zeke. You had other newspapers which fought for Nigeria's independence in that era. Then, in the military era, media also fought for democracy. There are so many things that the media has championed in this country. So the media in Nigeria is an active media. Very good. But we must draw a line between activism and productive nationalism. Activism that leads us to the point of not seeing anything good in government, of only just criticizing and trying to pull down, is then not good for a country. The first thing we should realize is that there must first be a country, there must first be a united country before you can even thrive as a media house. If by tomorrow we are all running helter-skelter because there is internecine war in the country and thieves are attacking Jukuns, Fulani are attacking Hausas, Yoruba are attacking Ishekiris and all that, who gains? Everybody loses, including the media. Because the media man is not able to do his work, is not able to sell his paper, is not able to broadcast. We can see it in Kosi Studios and allow all the hate speeches and all the negative things that callers call in to say. But when it boils over, even that Kosi Studio would not be able to accommodate the broadcaster. So it is very important that our media must have productive nationalism at the back of their minds at all times. Nationalism, love for country, that is productive, that is fruitful, that is yielding, that is advantageous, that is beneficial. It doesn't mean that when we toward the part of productive nationalism, then we are already in bed with government. No. We can still do this work without necessarily kowtowing to the will and wishes of government. As media advisor to the president, I tell my colleagues, please don't write things that we love to see. Don't write things that we want that will make us happy if it's not true. But be fair, be just, be critical. That is how the media can help to build a country. The one that you find all the talk shows in the morning, TV, radio, social media, all of them are on the negative. It's unproductive. It does nobody good. It does the country no good. It does the media houses no good. It does the society no good. Anything goes in our media today. Anything goes. And it's not good for the country. The media must advert its mind to productive nationalism because there is a nexus between a peaceful country and a productive media. There's a nexus. If the media wants to pull down a government within 4, 5, 6 weeks, it's too long a time to do it. They can do it in 1 week. Therefore, if the media also wants to be, they can be. It's very important that there's hatred for one another as Nigerians. And if we fall into that trap, that we begin to share and disseminate and celebrate misinformation, we are all guilty. How many of us share things on WhatsApp without authenticating? How many? You just see something and then you begin to share with all members of your group. Have you authenticated it? We must be discriminatory in the things we consume from the media, particularly the social media variant. We must be discriminatory. Seek to authenticate before you share, before you forward. Don't just automatically click the forward button when you read anything, it may end up not to be true. I was reading something that Professor Shoyinka said on social media 2-3 days ago. He gave examples of so many things that they have attributed to him, which he never said. Which he never said. And how many of us shared it? We need to watch it. We need to be careful. So be discriminatory in what you consume and what you share. Media people themselves must realize that they can only practice in an environment of peace and harmony. If the country is turned into a tailspin, the media itself will also suffer. So they should therefore sift what gets to them for public consumption. I remember in those days as a sitting editor, some of my reporters will bring things that are particularly libelous. And when I refuse to publish, they will come and say, editor, he said it, listen to him on tape. And I take time to educate them. I said, the fact that he said it does not mean it's publishable. It does not mean it's publishable. If he said it and it's libelous, if he said it and it's incendiary in nature, it can cause disharmony in the country, then it doesn't have to be published. But it seems all those checks are no longer there in our media. Media has a big role to play. I'm concluding now because I need to run. Media has a big role to play in inculcating and sustaining productive nationalism in the country. They need an awakening to that as opposed to rabid opposition to anything in government. You know, a lot of people think that when you are rabidly opposed to any government, I'm not necessarily talking of the government of the day. I can only serve the government of the day and move on to other things. The next government will come, some other people will serve it. So if we think that when we are rapidly anti-government, that is nationalism, that will not be right. Productive nationalism is what we must begin to address our minds to as media people, even as social commentators. Because I believe a good number of us in the audience are invited to these talk shows in the morning hours, in the evening hours, whatever, on TV, on radio. When you are contributing, contribute with productive nationalism in mind. That then will be good for our country. Thank you very much for inviting me. And I pray that Reverend Euba will continue to rest in peace, and Eko Boys High School, that is 110 today, will continue to grow from strength to strength. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Before you go, sir, the organizing committee has an award for you, which will be presented by the president of, the national president of Eko Boys High School Old Students Association, in person of Eko and Kayode Elliott.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you so much for the lecture. We've gained a lot from what you said. Like you said, the media is part of the problem that we have in Nigeria. I totally agree with you. Though some people here might not agree with me, but me, I totally agree with you that one of the problems we have in Nigeria is the media. And the media, you guys need to call yourself to order. On behalf of Eko Boys High School Old Student Association, we present this merit award to you in recognition of your immense contribution towards the upliftment of our school, humanity, and your moral support. Thank you so much. So, virtually, we are presenting the award to you, and the award will be sent to you in Abuja, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Taking time to join us this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, my sincere appreciation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, do you have time for 1 or 2 questions?
No, we have a schedule at 4 o'clock.
Okay, sir.
Because of autonomy.
Thank you.
Maybe one. Let's take one.
Okay, one question, please. Does anybody have a question for him? Okay, sir. My immediate past president, sir.
I want to ask you quickly, how do you react to negative news, particularly from the social media, the type that you said the regular media even sign on to? How do you react to it in the first instance? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, when those negative news come, what I expect the traditional media to do is to seek to authenticate it. And if it's authentic, they can go ahead and publish. But if it's not authentic, they should discard it. I remember I went to the World Editors Forum long ago. It held in Hamburg, Germany that year. And the conclusion of that forum was that we cannot do without social media. The world cannot do without it. But it is the duty of the traditional media to authenticate what the social media has published before they publish. But you find that it doesn't happen today. The social media comes with that rumor, comes with that fake news, and before you know it, the traditional media has latched onto it. That is not right. That is why I said we must be discriminatory as consumers and as media professionals. When that news comes, please authenticate. I remember last year when was it died in an accident, unfortunately. The rumor was that his wife and daughter were in the plane. And before you knew it, the traditional media had published it. Before they now began to apologize that they were misled by association. It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen. So, we need to authenticate. One of the cardinal maxims of journalism is when in doubt. When in doubt, leave it out. It's very important. We must go back to the traditional way of practicing journalism. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate your time with us, and we pray that next time when we call on you, you will be available. Thank you very much, sir.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you.
A round of applause for the special advisor to the President on Media, please. Thank you very much, sir.
Oh God of robbers and Euba, to thee we raise our hands, praying that this morning